They see it now. Your light, that unmistakable radiance that draws others toward you like moths to flame. The same light they once tried to dim with harsh words and cold shoulders. They chose the other path, following that magnetic pull toward someone whose energy felt familiar, comfortable in its negativity. The same energy that now suffocates them daily. The contrast between you both has become impossible to ignore. Where you bring warmth, the other brings frost. Where you inspire, the other diminishes. Where you build, the other tears down. Now they stand at the crossroads of their mistake, watching you thrive from a distance, the weight of their poor treatment hanging heavy between you. They reach for you with regretful hands, all while betraying the very person they chose over you, a desperate attempt to salvage what they carelessly discarded when your divine light was right before them all along. What makes your energy so distinct isn't some mysterious, unattainable quality. It's tangible, consistent, and unmistakably real. You enter spaces with intention, not domination. When challenges arise, as they inevitably do, you face them with a steady grace that doesn't deny difficulty, but refuses to be defined by it. Your struggles don't diminish your light. They refine it into something more resilient, more authentic. Unlike the negative forces they gravitated toward, your power doesn't feed on the diminishment of others. You understand the profound truth that genuine strength creates more strength, that true confidence has no need to undercut another's worth. You celebrate the success of those around you because you recognize that light multiplies light. The negative person, the one they chose, operates from scarcity. Every conversation becomes a competition, every achievement a threat, every vulnerability an opportunity for control. Their charm is strategic, their generosity calculated, their support conditional on maintaining superiority. Your boundaries aren't walls built from fear, but clear definitions of self-respect. You don't need to announce your limits through dramatic declarations. You simply honor them through consistent action. This energy signature you carry doesn't demand attention, yet it commands respect. It doesn't require constant external validation, because it's sustained by an internal alignment with truth. It's an energy that heals rather than depletes, illuminates rather than obscures, liberates rather than constrains. And that is precisely what makes it divine. Why couldn't they see it? How did they miss what now seems so obvious? The human heart often gravitates toward the familiar, even when the familiar causes pain. For many, negativity feels more authentic than joy, criticism more trustworthy than encouragement. We've been conditioned to believe that those who point out our flaws care more deeply than those who celebrate our strengths. Their blindness wasn't accidental, it was cultivated. Perhaps they grew up in environments where love came wrapped in criticism, where attention was earned through achievement, rather than freely given. Maybe previous relationships taught them to distrust kindness, to search for the hidden agenda behind every smile, the inevitable disappointment behind every promise. The negative person they chose offered a seductive certainty. Their drama created a false sense of depth. Their cynicism masqueraded as wisdom, their controlling nature as protection. They appeared strong because they spoke loudest, seemed most confident because they left no room for doubt. True power doesn't announce itself, it reveals itself through consistent action. But consistency requires patience to recognize, and in a world that prioritizes instant gratification, patience has become a forgotten virtue. Your quiet strength was misinterpreted as weakness, your thoughtfulness as indecision, your willingness to listen as lack of opinion, your refusal to engage in drama as lack of passion, your self-sufficiency as emotional unavailability. They were looking through a distorted lens, unable to distinguish between intensity and intimacy, between passion and drama, between confidence and arrogance. They mistook your centeredness for complacency, your peace for passivity, your boundaries for barriers, and so they chose what felt familiar over what would help them grow. Revelations rarely arrive with trumpets and lightning. More often, truth emerges through small fractures in carefully constructed illusions, tiny inconsistencies that become impossible to ignore. For them, the turning point wasn't a single dramatic event, but an accumulation of moments. The negative person's charm began to wear thin. What once seemed like refreshing honesty revealed itself as chronic dissatisfaction. The exciting intensity devolved into exhausting drama. The passionate arguments stopped feeling like connection and started feeling like warfare. Meanwhile, your absence created space for reflection. Without your calming presence, your thoughtful insights, your steady support, they began to notice the imbalance in their chosen relationship, the constant taking without giving, the conversations that always circled back to the same person, the subtle put-downs disguised as jokes, the jealousy masked as protection. Perhaps crisis served as the great revealer. When real difficulty struck, health challenges, financial setbacks, family struggles, who actually showed up? Not with grand gestures or performative concern, but with consistent, practical support. Who made things about them and who made things better? Crises strip away pretense. The negative person, so captivating in good times, became unbearable under pressure. Their mask slipped, revealing not strength but fragility, not wisdom but bitterness, not protective love but possessive fear. And through this contrast, your steady nature came into focus. Even from a distance, even after their poor treatment, your authentic power remained unchanged. Truth, once seen, cannot be unseen. And in that recognition began their awakening. Acknowledging a profound mistake rarely happens in a single moment of clarity. It unfolds as an internal war between ego and truth, between self-protection and growth. First came the defensiveness, the desperate attempts to justify their choice, to find fault with you that would validate their rejection. You were too passive, they told themselves, too idealistic, not passionate enough. They grasped every interaction, searching for evidence that would absolve them of responsibility. When defensiveness failed, denial took its place. They minimized the impact of their actions, convinced themselves that you probably didn't notice their withdrawal, didn't care about their absence, weren't affected by their dismissal. But reality persisted beyond their denial. The evidence of their misjudgment continued to mount. The negative person's behavior worsened. Your life continued to flourish. The contrast became increasingly stark, increasingly undeniable. Bargaining came next. They began reconstructing history, imagining scenarios where they could have both. The excitement of the negative connection and the nourishment of your presence. Depression followed as the full weight of their error settled onto their consciousness. Not just the opportunity cost of what they missed with you, but the recognition of what their choice revealed about themselves. Finally came the surrender. The humble acknowledgement that they had chosen poorly, judged unfairly, acted unwisely, that in turning away from your light, they had also turned away from potential growth within themselves. This internal battle required immense courage. The courage to face uncomfortable truths, to acknowledge painful patterns, to accept responsibility without falling into shame, to recognize that admitting a mistake isn't weakness but the foundation of genuine strength. Every choice creates ripples. Every decision alters potential futures. Their dismissal of your worth, their choice to turn away from your light. These actions carried consequences that extended far beyond a single relationship. For you, their rejection created temporary pain, but ultimately served as liberation. Without their ambivalence, you invested more deeply in connections that recognized your value. Without their inconsistent presence, you strengthened your relationship with yourself. Without their doubt clouding your vision, you stepped more confidently into your purpose. The irony isn't lost. In attempting to dim your light, they inadvertently cleared the path for it to shine more brightly. Freed from the exhaustion of trying to convince someone of your worth, you channeled that energy into creation, into growth, into service. For them, the consequences proved more complicated. Choosing the negative influence affected not just one relationship, but their entire approach to life. Their professional judgment became clouded by the same distorted values. Their other friendships suffered under the weight of their increasing negativity. Their creative potential shrank within the narrow confines of cynicism. Most significantly, they lost the opportunity to evolve alongside you, to learn from your resilience, to be inspired by your courage, to be softened by your compassion. They forfeited their place in the story of your becoming, relegating themselves to the role of distant observer rather than active participant. The natural order doesn't punish, it simply reveals. Their treatment of you didn't create artificial karma, but natural consequence. Energy aligned with negativity produces negative outcomes. Choices made from fear generate more fear. As recognition dawned and regret deepened, they found themselves in an impossible position, caught between the truth they now saw and the choice they had already made. Their relationship with the negative person had progressed, commitments made, lives intertwined. Having chosen darkness over light, they now faced the complicated question: is leaving another betrayal, or is staying the greater deception? The withdrawal began subtly. They created emotional distance, found reasons to be absent, engaged less enthusiastically in the dramas that once seemed so important. Each step away was tentative, fearful, guilt-ridden. Each moment of clarity about the relationship's toxicity was followed by waves of doubt, of obligation, of fear. Is it betrayal to acknowledge a mistake? Is it disloyalty to recognize harm? Is it selfish to choose health over history? These questions tormented them, creating the shadow dance of gradual separation. One step away, two steps back, movement occurring, but progress uncertain. The negative person sensed the shift. Their control tactics intensified. More drama, more accusations, more appeals to loyalty, more reminders of past intimacy. What once looked like passion now revealed itself as desperation. What once felt like love now exposed itself as attachment. True loyalty isn't blind adherence to past choices. It isn't the stubborn refusal to acknowledge changed circumstances or increased awareness. Sometimes, the most loyal act is precisely the one that appears most disloyal on the surface. Sometimes, walking away is the truest expression of respect, for oneself, for the other, for the truth that stands between. Their distancing wasn't betrayal, but belated honesty. Not abandonment, but necessary boundaries. Not rejection of the person, but recognition of the dynamic. Hello, chosen one. Look at your life. Now look at ours. Back at your life. Now back at ours. Sadly, you're not in the obsidian inner order, but you could be. Picture this: weekly group calls with 450 plus chosen ones, recorded and available anytime for your enlightenment. Our private Discord? It's not just active, it's alive, buzzing with ideas, breakthroughs, and that unstoppable chosen energy. Oh, and for you romantics out there, welcome to Chosen Singles, where soulmates meet under cosmic alignments, not cheap pickup lines. And if that's not enough, Star Chamber members unlock exclusive interviews with bona fide targeted individuals who faced the darkest trials and survived to tell the tale. Plus our video specials, too bold, too raw, too spicy for YouTube. This isn't just a community, it's a revolution of soul and spirit. Look at your DMs. Now back at me. The link to join, it's in the description. Don't just swipe right. On Destiny, claim it, the Obsidian Inner Order, smell like ascension, feel like magic, live like a chosen one. While they navigated their awakening and complicated withdrawal, your journey continued uninterrupted, not because you were untouched by their rejection, but because you refused to make their limitations your prison. Your rise wasn't reactionary. You didn't flourish to prove them wrong or to induce regret. You blossomed because that is what light does when not obstructed. It naturally expands. You grew because growth was always your intention, with or without witnesses. You advanced because purpose, once recognized, creates its own momentum. The same qualities they once overlooked became the foundation of your continued evolution. Your thoughtfulness developed into wisdom that others now sought. Your sensitivity transformed into intuition that guided not just your path, but illuminated possibilities for many. Your boundaries, once misinterpreted as aloofness, revealed themselves as the healthy container that allowed your generosity to flow without depletion. Each challenge that arose, and many did, was met with the same grace that had always been your hallmark, not because you denied difficulty, but because you had developed the capacity to hold both struggle and strength in the same moment. New connections formed around you, people drawn not by superficial charm, but by authentic resonance. Opportunities appeared that aligned perfectly with your values, utilizing your gifts while challenging you to expand beyond comfortable limits. The divine light within you, that energy signature they finally recognized, didn't brighten in their absence. It had always possessed this brilliance. What changed was its freedom to radiate without the constant drain of proving its worth to those committed to misunderstanding it. Chosen ones don't require validation to fulfill their potential. They move forward regardless of recognition, because their motivation comes not from external approval, but internal alignment. Having recognized their error, having begun the complicated process of disentangling from negativity, they finally gathered the courage to approach you again. Not with the entitled expectation of immediate restoration, but with the humility of someone who understands the weight of their actions. The reconnection attempt was awkward, hesitant, fraught with uncertainty. Perhaps it began with casual communication. A message that tried too hard to sound casual, a comment on social media that revealed more attention than they had previously admitted, a coincidental meeting that required more orchestration than they acknowledged. Their approach carried the complicated energy of conflicting intentions, the genuine desire for healing mixed with the hope of alleviating their own guilt. The authentic recognition of your value tangled with the wish to be included in your success, the sincere regret for past treatment clouded by the unspoken request for emotional reassurance. Words came difficult, inadequate. I've been thinking about you. I miss our conversations. I've realized some things. Phrases that hinted at recognition without fully owning responsibility. Genuine remorse doesn't demand absolution. It offers changed behavior. Their attempts at reconnection revealed the exact degree of their evolution. Had they truly recognized their mistake, or merely its consequences for them? Had they actually valued your energy, or simply the benefits of being associated with it? The authenticity of their approach directly reflected the depth of their transformation. Those who had done the real internal work came with no expectation of immediate forgiveness, no demand for emotional caretaking, no subtle manipulation through shared history or implied obligation. Your response to their return revealed the true nature of your divine light, not endlessly accommodating, but discerningly compassionate, not rigidly punitive, but appropriately protective, not driven by ego's need for vindication, but soul's commitment to truth. Divine energy doesn't seek revenge. It seeks restoration, not the restoration of what was, but what could be when aligned with highest good. Not relationship at any cost, but connection that honors the growth of all involved. Your boundaries weren't walls built from resentment, but thresholds marked by self-respect. They didn't emerge from desire to punish, but from commitment to protect the energy you had cultivated in their absence. These boundaries took many forms, perhaps the requirement for honest acknowledgement before casual connection, the insistence on demonstrated change before renewed trust, the clear communication about what behaviors were no longer acceptable, the explicit expectation of consistency rather than intensity, of substance rather than promise. In maintaining these boundaries, you offered not rejection, but invitation. The invitation to meet you at your level of awareness rather than pulling you back to theirs. You created the opportunity for them to rise into the best version of themselves rather than enabling them to remain comfortable in patterns that served neither of you. This is the wisdom that marks divine souls. Understanding that true compassion sometimes requires uncomfortable truth, that genuine caring includes accountability, that the highest form of love offers transformation, not mere acceptance, that forgiveness doesn't erase consequences but creates space for new choices. The pain of regret, when fully experienced rather than deflected, contains within it the seeds of profound transformation. For them, the recognition of their mistake became not just a source of suffering, but the catalyst for deep personal evolution. Their regret, initially focused on what they lost in turning away from you, gradually expanded into larger awareness. They began examining not just this single misjudgment, but the patterns that created it. Not just their actions toward you, but their approach to all relationships. This widening perspective led them beyond the simple narrative of having chosen the wrong person to the more complex recognition of how they had been choosing from wounded rather than wise aspects of themselves. How fear had guided them toward what felt familiar rather than what offered growth. How unhealed parts had recognized and bonded with similar woundedness in others, mistaking resonance for rightness. As their awareness deepened, they developed new discernment about energy and character. They began recognizing the subtle distinctions between confidence and arrogance, between vulnerability and victimhood, between healthy passion and addictive intensity. They learned to value substance over style, consistency over charisma, authentic power over apparent control. Their experience with the negative person, once viewed as a painful mistake, revealed itself as an essential teacher. Through that relationship, they faced aspects of themselves that required integration. Their own tendencies toward drama, their comfort with familiar dysfunction, their fear of authentic intimacy, their resistance to genuine growth. The ultimate irony emerged. In losing you, they found themselves. In recognizing what they had rejected in your energy, they discovered what they needed to develop within their own. Viewed from the highest perspective, this entire journey reveals itself not as random experience, but as perfect unfolding. Not as tragic mistake, but as necessary curriculum. Not as story of loss, but as evolution of consciousness. The divine often works through contrast. Sometimes we must experience what doesn't align with our highest good to clarify what does. Sometimes rejection serves as protection, redirecting us toward connections that truly honor our essence. Sometimes we must recognize our light in others before we can fully claim it within ourselves. For them, choosing the negative path wasn't failure, but education. The contrast between what depletes and what nourishes became embodied experience rather than abstract concept. The difference between authentic power and manipulative control transformed from intellectual understanding to cellular knowing. For you, their rejection wasn't punishment, but liberation. Being overlooked created space to develop beyond external validation. Their absence allowed relationships to form with those who recognized your value without extended education. The pain of their dismissal strengthened your commitment to honoring your own worth, regardless of others' ability to perceive it. From the soul's perspective, there are no mistakes, only experiences that reveal truth. No wasted pain. Only catalysts for expansion. No random encounters, only opportunities for recognition, both of what we are and what we are becoming. This pattern reveals itself throughout human relationship. We are drawn together not by accident but by resonance. Sometimes the resonance of what is healed within us, sometimes the resonance of what still needs healing. We activate in each other exactly what requires attention, exactly what calls for integration, exactly what asks for love. Divine light doesn't need to prove itself, it simply shines. Authentic power doesn't need to dominate, it simply expresses. True worth doesn't need to convince, it simply is. And those aligned with their essence naturally attract what matches their frequency, whether immediately recognized or eventually revealed through the clarifying contrast of its opposite. Your light was never dependent on their recognition. Your worth never diminished by their oversight. Your purpose never deterred by their rejection. For those currently experiencing the pain of rejection, of being overlooked, of having their light dismissed, let this journey offer reassurance. Your radiance doesn't require external validation to exist. Your value isn't determined by others' capacity to recognize it. Your divine nature remains intact regardless of how many or how few witnesses currently acknowledge its presence. The divine light within each of us seeks expression, not to dominate or control, not to be worshipped or appeased, but to connect, to create, to contribute to the greater illumination of our shared human experience. Shine on.